向こうはちょっと上がってきてんだ。あれがこっち。
Are you ready to tell him that?
手拭きのシャワー君に注いであげる寂しげなその背中を支えてあげる手拭きのシャワー君は一人じゃないわ友情
Oh my god.
The Great Kanto Earthquake, also known in Japanese as Kanto Daishinsai, struck the Kanto Plain on the main Japanese island of Honshu at 11:58:32 JST on Saturday, September 1st, 1923. Varied accounts indicate the duration of the earthquake was between 4 and 10 minutes. Extensive firestorms and even a fire whirl added to the death toll. The earthquake had a magnitude of 7.9 on the moment magnitude scale, with its focus deep beneath Izu-Oshima Island in Sagami Bay. The cause was a rupture of part of the convergent boundary where the Philippine Sea Plate is subducting beneath a Okhotsk Plate along the line of the Sagami Trough. In the immediate aftermath of the earthquake, the Kanto Massacre began. Rumors emerged that ethnic Koreans in Japan had poisoned wells or were planning to attack cities. In response, the Japanese police and bands of armed vigilantes killed ethnic Korean civilians and anyone they suspected of being Korean. Estimates of the death toll from the massacre vary, with most third-party sources citing fatalities ranging from 6,000 to 10,000. Since 1960, September 1st has been designated by the Japanese government as Disaster Prevention Day, Bosai no Hi, or a day in remembrance of and to prepare for major natural disasters, including tsunami and typhoons. Drills, as well as knowledge promotion events, are centered around the date, as well as award ceremonies for people of merit. The SS Dongola's captain reported that, while he was anchored in Yokohama's inner harbor, at 11:55 a.m., ship commenced to tremble and vibrate violently, and on looking towards the shore, it was seen that a terrible earthquake was taking place. Buildings were collapsing in all directions, and in a few minutes, nothing could be seen for clouds of dust. When these cleared away, fire could be seen, starting in many directions, and in half an hour the whole city was in flames. This earthquake devastated Tokyo, the port city of Yokohama, and the surrounding prefectures of Chiba, Kanagawa, and Shizuoka, and caused widespread damage throughout the Kanto region. The earthquake's force was so great that in Kamakura, over 60 kilometers, 37 miles from the epicenter, it moved the Great Buddha statue, which weighs about 121 tons, almost 60 centimeters. Estimated casualties totaled about 142,800 deaths, including about 40,000 who went missing and were presumed dead. According to the Japanese construction company Kajima, Kobori Research's conclusive report of September 2004, 105,385 deaths were confirmed in the 1923 quake. The damage from this natural disaster was one of the greatest sustained by Imperial Japan. Because the earthquake struck when people were cooking meals, many were killed as a result of it. Following the devastation of the earthquake, some in the government considered the possibility of moving the capital elsewhere. Proposed sites for the new capital were even discussed. Japanese commentators interpreted the disaster as an act of divine punishment to admonish the Japanese people for their self-centered, immoral, and extravagant lifestyles. In the long run, the response to the disaster was a strong sense that Japan had been given an unparalleled opportunity to rebuild the city and rebuild Japanese values. In reconstructing the city, the nation and the Japanese people, the earthquake fostered a culture of catastrophe and reconstruction that amplified discourses of moral degeneracy and national renovation in interwar Japan, fostering a culture of militarism. After the earthquake, Goto Shinpai organized a reconstruction plan of Tokyo with modern networks of roads, trains, and public services. Parks were placed all over Tokyo as refuge spots, and public buildings were constructed with stricter standards than private buildings to accommodate refugees. The outbreak of World War II and subsequent destruction severely limited resources. Frank Lloyd Wright received credit for designing the Imperial Hotel Tokyo to withstand the quake, although in fact the building was damaged, though standing, by the shock. The destruction of the U.S. Embassy caused Ambassador Cyrus Woods to relocate the embassy to the hotel. Wright's structure withstood the anticipated earthquake stresses, and the hotel remained in use until 1968. The innovative design used to construct the Imperial Hotel and its structural fortitude inspired the creation of the popular Lincoln Logs toy. In contrast to London, where typhoid fever had been steadily declining since the 1870s, the rate in Tokyo remained high, more so in the upper-class residential northern and western districts than in the densely populated working-class eastern district. An explanation is the decline of waste disposal which became particularly serious in the northern and western districts when traditional methods of waste disposal collapsed due to urbanization. The 1923 earthquake led to record-high morbidity due to the unsanitary conditions following the earthquake, and it prompted the establishment of anti-typhoid measures and the building of urban infrastructure. In the 2013 animated film by director Hayao Miyazaki, The Wind Rises, the protagonist, Jiro Horikoshi, is traveling to Tokyo by train to study engineering. On the way, the 1923 earthquake strikes, damaging the train and causing a huge fire in the city.
恐る恐る視線を向けた時には頭蓋骨が砕かれ鮮血が辺り一面に飛び散り手足をピクピクと動かしていました。あははざまあみろ。不意に血を浴びた兵隊が高々と笑いました。彼の目は殺戮者のみ持つ野獣的な殺気に輝いていました。
그러나 그 희생자의 명단에 들어갈 수 없었던 죽음들이 있었다. 조센. 단지 조센징이라는 이유 때문이었다. 자경단을 중심으로 한 일본인들이 6천여 명의 조선인을
In the factories, striking workers were demanding a bigger share of the profits. The big family-run corporations called zaibatsu used their power to keep wages low and profits high. Zaibatsu greed pushed many young Japanese far to the political left. But while the left looked forward to a workers' paradise, Japan's radical right wing looked back toward Japan's past. They saw national salvation in a return to the way of the samurai, a country ruled by the emperor and run by pure-hearted officials. In the early 1920s, most Japanese were caught between modern times and old traditions, embracing Western ideas while fearing the power of the West. Out of these conflicts emerged a radical young philosopher named Kita Iki. He began his life searching for a way to close the gap between Japan's rich and poor, and to inspire Asia to fight against foreign influences and Western imperialism. Communism preached that workers of the world must unite. But Kita thought that the problems of Japan's poor and homeless could only be solved by a Japanese solution. Nationalism, not international communism.
I'm a nationalist, okay? I'm a nationalist.
In the late 1920s, Japan's government began to turn to the right. using a peace preservation law to crack down on the dangerous thought of socialists and communists and to protect private property.
子供の時だったもんですから、中に爆弾が入ってんだよっていうの。ああ、すごい広がって、女性の方？そうだと思う。ああ、じゃあ女性の方のこの島のところにもそう今の広がって中に爆弾が入っているってあん中に爆弾入ってるんだよ、怖いよねなんて言いながら見てた記憶があります。
왜 그토록 조선인 학살에 광분하게 됐던 것일까? 1923년 9월 1일 오전 11시 58분 하나가 들이닥친 관동일 때는 그야말로 아비규환이었다. 사람들은 저마다 뜨거운 열기로부터 달아나려고 몸부림치고 있을 때 그때 되어가진 동경에서부터 이상한 소문이 돌기 시작했다. 하나가와 현에서 녹음기사로 일하던 바카세 요시오 씨의 증언을 들어보자. 불길을 피해 바다 방면으로 도망갔습니다. 석탄 코크스가 빨갛게 타오르는 곳에 다다르자 몇 명의 남자가 철사로 묶여진 맨몸의 남자를 불 속으로 차 던지는 것을 보았습니다. 당시의 일은 지금도 잊지 못합니다. 가끔 제 꿈속에 그때 철사에 묶인 남자가 나타나
夜になってから何日か知りませんけど、本当にもう夕焼けなんてもんじゃないですね。これずっと広く空真っ赤下から、そしたら大人の人がね、昼間送った調子いてるんだよってこう。
약기단이 다했고 할머니를 방문한 사람이면 누구나 74년 전 일어난 조선인 학살에 대해서 듣게 된다. 어린 시절에 본 조선인 청년의 학살 장면은 내내 할머니를 쫓아다녔고 그것 때문에 할머니는 평생 비명에 숨져간 조선인 얘기를 하며 살아야 했다는 것인데
取りに来いと言って、私のところは25個くらい、お家が25個くらいの田んぼを前にした農村なわけなんです。火の実、なんですか、カンカンカンと鐘が鳴りましてね、村人がそこに集まるんです。村人が取り巻いて、そして彼はね、白いシャツが着替えもないから半袖のシャツが、メリヤスの白いシャツがもう汚れておりますよね。彼はこううつろにね、手を後ろに回して火の見櫓がこう立ってる、その脇に立たされて、そしてもうね覚悟してますね。こういう彼の様子を、私はこうなってる様子を忘れません。
그 그 청년은 미리 파놓은 구덩이 앞에서 총살당했다고 한다. 그 이후로 오늘까지 할머니는 그의 망령으로부터 자유로워질 수 없었다.
かつて70何年か前に、もう死んでしまってるその人が私の前にまっすぐ現れるの。まっすぐ。現実にも。そうなんです。それで私にね、語れ語れというように私には思いました。まっすぐ私を見ているんです。
The Kanto Massacre was a mass murder in the Kanto region of Japan, committed in the aftermath of the 1923 Great Kanto earthquake. With the news blackout following the earthquake, malicious rumors then started that Korean students and workers wanted to take advantage of the chaos to loot, kill Japanese citizens, and even stage a coup. Over the following 3 weeks of horror, mobs armed with swords, iron bars, and bamboo sticks went on a killing spree of Koreans living in the Tokyo region.
그러던 것이 일본 사회에 알려지게 된 것은 조선인 학자 금병동 씨와 강덕상 씨의 연구 성과에 의한 것이었다. 금병동 씨는 조총련계 조선대학에서 역사를 가르치는 교수로 40여 년간 조선인 학살에 대해 조사해왔다.
その時後に押収されたこれは神楽坂署なんだけど自警団が持ってた武器ですよ。日本刀から竹槍からもうとにかく飛び口から飛び口ってどれのことですか？右の方からこう見て太いあれがあるでしょ。あそこにこうなってる飛びの口みたいになってるトンビのでこれをパンとこうやって例えば火事の場合、焼けてるのをそのまま放ってかないで倒してしまうでしょ、引きずって、打ち込んでほっとこう引くわけ。それを彼は人間の頭や朝鮮人の頭や体に打ち込んでもうこういうものだよね本当に。
Xenophobia towards Korean immigrants was rife in 1920s Japan, which, at the time, occupied the Korean peninsula and was about to become the military dictatorship that would drag the country into World War II.
帝国陸海軍は8日未明西太平洋において米英軍と戦闘状態にいて米国の流体東亜の5敗まさにこの一戦にあり一応国民が一切を挙げて国に報い国に準ずるの時は今であります。
The Japanese government, under pressure to deal with the aftermath of the quake, used Koreans as a convenient, imagined enemy within to avoid angry Japanese people rioting. The government, both implicitly and explicitly, approved for the Japanese military, police, and duped civilians to murder their fabricated enemies, mainly ethnic Koreans, but also Chinese and Japanese people mistaken to be Korean, and Japanese communists, socialists, and anarchists.
Hi, people! Hey, good to see
Meanwhile, government officials met and created a plan to suppress information about and minimize the scale of the killings. Beginning on September 18th, the Japanese government arrested 735 participants in the massacre, but they were reportedly given light sentences. The Japanese Governor General of Korea paid out 200 Japanese yen in compensation to 832 families of massacre victims, although the Japanese government on the mainland only admitted to about 250 deaths. In recent years, it has continued to be denied or minimized by both mainstream Japanese politicians and fringe Japanese right-wing groups. Since 2017, the governor of Tokyo, Yuriko Koike, has consistently expressed skepticism that the massacre occurred.
Hello everyone, I'm Yuriko Koike, the governor of Tokyo.
Another local health tradition is the special aid on Tokyo vegetables. 400 years on, these brown vegetables are still in high demand for both Japanese and fusion cuisines. As these examples show, Tokyo is a convergence of all meets new that never stops evolving. Please come and experience mesmerizing Tokyo.
September 1st, Korean Labor Union offers food relief. Korean laborers in Yokohama had joined a dock workers union led by the Japanese organizer Yamaguchi Seiken. Yamaguchi was a left-wing organizer, and at the May Day rally in 1920, some of his union members had shouted anti-colonial slogans. Japanese police responded with arrests and abuse, because of course they did. On September 1st, 1923, immediately after the earthquake, Yamaguchi organized his union to provide food and water to the neighborhood, including commandeering supplies from ruined buildings. Police regarded the labor union as a nest of socialists and were likely unsettled by the well-organized food relief program. September 1st through 2nd, police spread false rumors and give permission to kill. Kanagawa Prefecture Police Chief Nishizaka Katsuto reported that, on the night of September 1st, he gave his district chiefs, quote, a certain mission to deal with the emergency situation, unquote, the details of which he refused to describe. Towards the end of his life, Nishizaka told an interviewer that, quote, someone must have said that Korean malcontents were dangerous in such a time of confusion, unquote. According to multiple reports from Japanese witnesses, beginning on the night of September 2nd, police officers in Yokohama, Kanagawa, and Tokyo began informing residents that it was permissible to kill Koreans. Some orders were conditional, such as killing Koreans who resist arrest, but others were more direct: kill any Koreans who enter the neighborhood, or kill any Koreans you find. Also, on the night of September 2nd, as police organized a vigilante band to kill Koreans in the Noge region of Yokohama, one of the organizing police officers told a newspaper reporter that Koreans had been caught with a list of neighborhoods to burn, carrying gasoline and poison for wells. In the town of Yokosuka, police officers told locals that Korean men were raping Japanese women, inciting Japanese men to form vigilante lynch mobs. In Bunkyo, the police falsely reported that Koreans had poisoned the water and food supply. Nishizaka's final report on the massacre acknowledges in a secret appendix that these rumors were all false. September 2nd through 9th, Japanese lynch mobs massacre Koreans and others. As a result of the police-initiated rumors, beginning on September 2nd, Japanese citizens organized themselves into vigilante bands and accosted strangers on the streets. Those believed to be Korean or Chinese were murdered on the spot. Koreans and Chinese wore Japanese clothing in order to hide their identities. The ethnic Japanese playwright Koreya Senda was targeted by a mob and wrote of his experience in 1988. On the second night after the earthquake, there were foolish rumors about Koreans who were allegedly on their way to raid the town to get revenge on the Japanese. It turned out that I was mistaken for Korean, and they wouldn't believe me, even though I denied it over and over, saying, I am Japanese. I am a student at Waseda University, with my student ID at hand. They asked me to say A-I-U-E-O and recite the names of the emperors in Japanese history. Fortunately, there was a person who recognized me. The filmmaker, Akira Kurosawa, who was a child at the time, was astonished to witness the irrational behavior of the mob. With my own eyes, I saw a mob of adults with contorted faces, rushing like an avalanche in confusion, yelling, "This way! No, that way!" They were chasing a bearded man, thinking someone with so much facial hair could not be Japanese. Simply because my father had a full beard, he was surrounded by a mob carrying clubs. My heart pounded as I looked at my brother, who was with him. My brother was smiling sarcastically. On the morning of September 3rd, the Home Ministry of Mizuno Rentaro issued a message to police stations around the capital, encouraging the spread of rumors and violence, stating that, quote, there are a group of people who want to take advantage of disasters. Be careful, because Koreans are planning terrorism and robbery by arson and bombs. Some Koreans sought safety in police stations in order to escape the slaughter, but in some areas, vigilantes broke into police stations and pulled them out. In other cases, police officers handed groups of Koreans over to local vigilantes who proceeded to kill them. Both vigilantes and Imperial Japanese Army troops burned Korean bodies in order to destroy the evidence of murder. Official Japanese reports in September claimed that only 5 Koreans had been killed. Jesus Christ, such a fucking insultingly low number. And even years after, the number of acknowledged deaths remained in the low hundreds. After the massacre, Korean survivors painstakingly documented the extent of the massacre. Japanese eyewitness accounts and additional academic research, current estimates of the death toll range from 6,000 to 9,000. Between 50 and 90% of the Korean population of Yokohama was killed.
동경에서 1시간 거리에 위치한 사쿠라 국립역사박물관에는 관동 대지진 코너가 마련되어 있다. 진열된 전시품이나 규모, 시설도 훌륭하지만 무엇보다 우리를 놀라게 하는 것은 이 박물관에 비치된 관동 대지진에 대한 내용이 왜곡되거나 미화되어 있지 않다는 것이다. 일본 근대사 3대 수치 중의 하나라는 조선인 대학살이 그 발생 배경에서부터 전개 과정, 보상 문제에 이르기까지 자세하게 소개되고 있었다. 구로다는 취재 중에 만났던 야키다니 할머니를 이곳에서 다시 만났다. 일본은 고등학교 역사 교과서만도 총 17종. 모든 책들이 크든 작든 간에 관동 대지진 당시 조선인이 학살됐다는 사실을 털어놓고 있었다.
우리나라 교과서에서 관동 대지진을 다룬 것은 결국 작년에 개편된 교과서에 처음 등장을 했는데, 그때 관동 대지진이 들어가 있는 부분 자체도 우리가 왜곡되어 있다고 하는 일본의 역사 교과서 수준을 넘지 못하는 것이, 그것이 우리가 저희는 관동 대지진에 관한 인식 수준이 아닐까 이런 생각을 할 수가 있죠.
지난해 독립공원에서는 조선인 학살의 사진과 자료들이 처음으로 일반에게 공개됐다. 한국인들에게도 생소한 그 자리에 한켠에 낯선 몇몇의 사람들이 찾아와 고개를 숙였다. 그들은 일본에서 찾아온 교사들이었다.
과거 한국 사람들에게 얼마나 많은 나쁜 짓을 했던가, 우리는 얼마나 부끄러운가라고 얘기를 할 수 있는 그런 일본 사람들이 있다는 것, 그런 것들이 정말로 우리에게는 두렵고 무서운이라고 생각을 해요.
September 3rd through 16th, police and army assassinate left-wing leaders. Amidst the mob violence, regional police and the army used the pretext of civil unrest to liquidate political dissidents. Socialists such as Hirasawa Kaishichi and the Chinese communal leader Wang Zishan were abducted and killed by local police and army who claimed the radicals intended to use the crisis as an opportunity to overthrow the Japanese government in what became known as the Amaterasu Incident. The couple, Sakai Osuji, Japan's first Esperanto teacher, and Noe Ito, both anarchists and feminists, were executed by army officer Masahiko Amakasu, along with Osuji's 6-year-old nephew. The bodies of the couple and child were thrown in a well. These killings caused national outrage, albeit thousands signed petitions requesting leniency on Amakasu's behalf. The murders drew attention in the United States since the child was a dual national with American citizenship, having been born in Portland, Oregon. Efforts to get the American embassy involved were unsuccessful. One embassy official made a brief statement on the case. In the case, even, of an unquestioned American citizen involved in trial in a foreign court, the law of that country must take its course, and we can only be interested in seeing that the trial is fair and the law impartially applied. Amakasu and 4 other army soldiers were court-martialed for the murders. During the trial, Amakasu's lawyers tied the murder to soldierly duties and the ideals of spontaneity, sincerity, and pure motives, whatever the fuck that means. They argued that Sakai and Noe were traitors, and Amakasu killed them out of an irresistible urge to protect the country.
Yes, let's go kill children.
As for the murder of the child, they argued that this was still justifiable for the public good. Many in the courtroom sympathized with these arguments, with spectators loudly calling Amakasu a Kokushi hero.
Are there dogs applauding? I'm not imagining that, am I? There's dogs clapping. I didn't even know that dogs were fucking watching.
The judge did nothing to intervene. Even the military prosecutor, while unwilling to accept the defense's arguments as an excuse, was sympathetic. Believing that Amakasu had merely acted excessively, he said the officer's patriotism brought tears into one's eyes. As such, he demanded only 15 years in prison with hard labor for Amakasu and lesser punishments for the other defendants. The judge was even more lenient. Amakasu was sentenced to 10 years in prison with hard labor, and Army Sergeant Kajiro Mori was sentenced to 3 years in prison with hard labor as an accomplice. The other 3 men were acquitted, 2 on the grounds of superior orders, and the others due to insufficient evidence. In August 1924, Amakasu's sentence was reduced to 7 years and 6 months. He was released due to an amnesty in October 1926. Amakasu studied in France and became a special agent for the Imperial Japanese Army in Manchuria. When Japan surrendered in August 1945, he killed himself with potassium cyanide. After the massacre, Navy Minister Takarabe Takashi, praised the Japanese lynch mobs for their martial spirit, describing them as a successful result of military conscription.
Am I wrong?
No.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, but...
Okay then.
Paper plays called kamishibai were performed for children, which portrayed the slaughter with vivid, bloody illustrations. Performers would encourage children to cheer for the lynch mobs as they killed dangerous Koreans. In 2000, the governor of Tokyo, Shintaro Ishihara, received international criticism for claiming that, a term originally referring to foreigners and now considered xenophobic and harsh, could be expected to riot in the event of a disastrous earthquake. He later claimed he would stop using the word, but refused to apologize or withdraw the substance of his remark. The issue has been rekindled in modern times. Miyoko Kudo's 2009 book, Great Kanto Earthquake, The Truth About the Massacre of Koreans. Massacre of Koreans is in quotation marks, by the way, was influential in inspiring grassroots-level attempts to whitewash the issue in official and public commemorations. Several books denying the massacre and supporting the government narrative of 1923 became bestsellers in the 2010s. In April 2017, the Cabinet Office deleted historical evidence and acknowledgement of the massacre from their website. Beginning in 2017, Tokyo Mayor Yuriko Koike broke decades of precedent by refusing to acknowledge the massacre or offer condolences to the descendants of survivors. She justified this by saying that whether a massacre occurred is a matter of historical debate. In July 2020, Koike was re-elected as mayor of Tokyo in a landslide victory. In 2022, it was reported that Koike had declined to send a commemorative message for the 6th year in a row. Every year since 1974, the Japan-Korea Association, Nicho Kyokai, has held a memory ceremony in Yokomicho Park in memory of the victims of the massacre. However, the memorial ceremony is regularly met with counter-protests, especially by the organization Japan Women's Group Gentle Breeze. This group has denied the massacre and called for the memorial ceremony to be banned on a number of occasions. For example, in 2020, the group displayed a sign reading, "The massacre of Koreans is a lie." This has resulted in violence on some occasions, including in 2019. In June 2019, J. Mark Ramsire, the Mitsubishi professor of Japanese legal studies at Harvard University, published a paper in which he first reiterated contemporary Japanese newspapers' rumors about Koreans. Quote,
Mexico, I say the illegal immigrants, you look at the statistics on rape, on crime, on everything coming in illegally into this country, they're mind-boggling. If you go to Fusion, you will see a story about 80% of the women coming in. I mean, you have to take a look at these stories. And you know who owns Fusion? Univision. And it was in the Huffington Post. I said, let me get some of these articles because I've heard some horrible things. I deal a lot of talking with people on the Border Patrols.
Yeah.
They're incredible people.
I want to get some.
Country.
I want to get some.
And
I want to get some clarification.
No, but Don, all you have to do is go to Fusion and pick up the stories on rape. And it's unbelievable when you look at what's going on. So all I'm doing is telling the truth.
I read the Washington Post, I read the Fusion, I read the Huffington Post, and that's about women being raped. It's not about criminals coming across the border or entering the country.
Well, somebody's doing the raping, Don. I mean, you know,
They poisoned water supplies. They murdered. They pillaged. They raped.
I mean, somebody's doing this. You're saying it's women being raped. Well, who's doing the raping? Who's doing the raping? I mean, how can you say such a thing?
Ramsayer then said, quote, "The puzzle is not whether this happened, it is how extensively it happened."
Holocaust denial takes different forms. And I divide it into hardcore Holocaust denial and softcore Holocaust denial. Hardcore Holocaust denial is the argument made by deniers that there was no planned, centralized program of annihilation of the Jews by the Nazis. That this whole idea of eliminating the Jews from the European continent and beyond never happened.
Yes, I deny the Holocaust.
Listen,
it's an extortion racket.
You
pure
are
and simple.
entitled to
and
your
if you did
own
any investigation, if you did any honest,
Softcore denial does not deny the Holocaust. There were people who would say, well, of course the Holocaust happened, but was it really 6 million? Of course the Holocaust happened, but were there really gas chambers?
Ramsayer also drew controversy that same year for describing comfort women, a euphemism for forced sex workers, as engaging in a consensual, contractual process. After receiving criticism from a number of scholars over the methodology and views in the paper, Ramsayer's paper was withdrawn. The editor of the handbook, in which it was published, Alan Harrell, said of the paper's disputed portions, quote, "It was evidently an innocent and very regrettable mistake on our part. We assumed that Professor Ramsayer knows the history better than us. In the meantime, we have learnt a lot about the events, and we sent a list of detailed comments on the paper that were written by professional historians and lawyers."
Retired teacher Nishizaki Masao has been collecting evidence for nearly 4 decades with the support of friends. He's committed to passing down the facts. He's guiding a group from South Korea around one of the killing sites.
As a teacher of history in Korea myself, it was a valuable opportunity for me to think about how to teach this dark legacy.
Although born in the neighborhood, Nishizaki only learned when he was in college that the Arakawa River bank was one scene of the slayings. Eventually, he joined a group committed to preserving the memory of the event. They even bought a piece of land close to the site, collecting donations to erect the memorial.
I was never taught about the killings, not at school, at home, or in the community. Nobody talked about it. We need to document everything that happened and re-evaluate it. That's the only way new facts will emerge. It's the most crucial.
These millennials are the driving force behind this memorial ceremony, which has brought together more than 600 people on the Arakawa River.
デマに煽られた日本の人々が武器を持って朝鮮人に襲いかかりました。朝鮮人を殺すといて、鬼怒川橋の元に並べておいた。
I think that by coming to these places and listening to people's actual stories, participants will feel obliged to share the history of what happened here. We should pass this on to future generations for 100, 200 more years.
At the end of the ceremony, Koreans and Japanese commemorated the spirits of those who died through the pomo, a Korean folk performing art that symbolizes unity.
We had a very large number of participants this year, and I think a lot of young people came to the event. I think it will continue to spread to the younger generation.
Nishizaki hopes This negative history will be remembered by the next generation of Japanese, so that such an act of barbarity will never be repeated. Ono Momo, NHK World, Tokyo.